Being the villain of the story is sometimes the best decision you can make in your life, because being selfish may be the only way to be really happy. And the reason I'm saying all of this will make more sense later. We just have to start from the beginning. I'm not saying kindness is bad or that empathy is weak. I'm saying there's a version of being a good person that's not really goodness. It's people-pleasing. It's self-abandonment just with better branding. And a lot of us were raised to confuse those things. We were told to be good, be respectful. And somewhere along the way, that became, don't ask, don't make anyone uncomfortable. And then years later, you wonder why you feel tired all the time. You wonder why people keep taking more from you. You wonder why you're doing everything right and still losing. That's the lie. The lie is that if you're good enough, life will eventually notice. It will notice your silence, or it will notice your patience. And then one day, life will reward you. But life isn't a teacher with a gold star. Life doesn't automatically protect the person who never says no. Actually, sometimes it does the opposite. It puts more weight on the person who keeps carrying it. Because people learn how much they can take from you by watching how much you allow. And that sentence hurts. Because if you're watching this, maybe you already know exactly what I'm talking about. Maybe you've been the person who says yes when you want to say no. Maybe you've been the person who accepts less just to avoid conflict. And the worst part is, people usually praise you for it. They call you mature, or even call you humble. And at first, that feels good. It feels like proof that you're doing the right thing. But slowly, praise becomes a trap. Because now you're not just being kind, you're protecting an image, the image of being good. And once you're addicted to that image, you'll betray yourself just to keep it alive. That's when good becomes a bad idea, because you stop asking what's right and you start asking, how do I avoid looking bad? Those aren't the same question. A good person can set a boundary. A people pleaser can't. A good person can disappoint someone when the truth requires it. A people pleaser would rather disappear inside their own life than be misunderstood. And I think that's where many of us get stuck. We don't want to become cruel, so we become passive. We don't want to hurt anyone, so we let ourselves get hurt, and then we call that morality. The real problem is that being good is often taught as obedience. When you're young, being good usually means being easy to manage. You sit still, you stay quiet, and follow instructions. And for a child, that makes sense. A child needs structure. But if you carry that same definition into adulthood, it becomes a prison. Because adults aren't rewarded for being easy to manage. They're often used for it. At work, the good employee gets more work. Not always more pay, not always more respect, just more work. In relationships, the good partner forgives everything. Not because it's healthy, because they're scared to leave. In friendships, the good friend is always available. Not because they have energy, because they feel guilty when they don't. And then one day, resentment shows up quietly. Not as rage, it shows up as exhaustion. You stop answering with excitement, you stop giving from love, and start giving from pressure. And that's a very different thing, because kindness that has no limits eventually becomes bitterness. You keep saying, it's fine, but it's not fine. You keep saying, I understand, but you feel invisible, and nobody notices because you train them not to. That's a hard thing to admit, but it's important. Sometimes people take advantage of you because they're selfish, but sometimes people take advantage because you keep making it easy. That doesn't make it your fault. Well, it kind of does. It does make it your responsibility, and that difference matters. Fault is about blame. Responsibility is about power. If it's only your fault, you just feel shame. If it's your responsibility, you can change something. And the change doesn't have to be dramatic. You don't need a villain arc. You don't need to punish the world because someone hurt you. That whole idea is childish. It feels powerful for 5 minutes. Then it turns you into the kind of person you used to avoid. The goal isn't to stop being good. The goal is to stop being available for your own disrespect. That's the line. Because if your kindness requires you to shrink, it's not kindness anymore, it's survival. If your loyalty requires you to abandon yourself, it's not loyalty anymore, it's dependency. And I know this is uncomfortable, because a lot of people build their whole identity around being the good one, the calm one, the useful one, the one who never asks for too much. But let me ask you something. If people only like you when you're easy to control, do they actually like you? Or do they like the convenience? Because there's a difference. Some people don't love your kindness. They love your lack of boundaries. They love that you apologize first. They love that they can hurt you and still keep access to you. And when you finally change, they'll not call it growth. They'll call it arrogance, or that you're acting different. And honestly, they might be right. You did change. You stopped offering discounts on your dignity. That will feel offensive to people who benefited from the old version of you. But that doesn't mean you're wrong. It means the old arrangement stopped working. This is why good people lose. Not because goodness is weak, but because many good people were never taught the second half of goodness. The first half is compassion. The second half is courage. Compassion without courage becomes submission. Courage without compassion becomes cruelty. You need both. You need enough compassion to care about people, and enough courage to tell the truth, even when your voice shakes or someone gets upset. Because sometimes the most loving thing you can do is stop pretending. Stop pretending you're okay. Stop pretending it didn't hurt. Stop pretending you can carry everything. And no, that doesn't mean you start throwing your pain at everyone. It means you become honest before resentment does the talking for you. There's a version of you that can be kind and firm. That version isn't fake. That version is probably more real than the one who keeps swallowing words just to keep the room calm. But you've to practice it. Because if you've spent years being the good person, boundaries will feel illegal at first. Saying no will feel rude. Walking away will feel cruel. That's normal because it's unfamiliar. The first time you choose yourself, your nervous system might treat it like danger. You might overthink the message or feel guilty for doing something healthy. It means you're detoxing from approval, and approval is addictive, especially when you learned early that love comes from being useful. That's why this isn't just about being nice. It's about identity. Some people aren't afraid of conflict. They're afraid of losing the role that made them feel safe. The good child, the reliable friend, the easy partner. The problem is a role can protect you and erase you at the same time. And at some point, you have to ask, am I being good or am I being approved? Because those aren't the same thing. Being approved feels clean. Everyone smiles. No one complains. No one calls you selfish. But being good is messier. Sometimes it means telling someone the truth. Sometimes it means leaving. Sometimes it means saying, I can't do that. And yes, someone may dislike you for it. That's part of life. You're not here to be accepted by everyone. You can't be. For someone, you'll always be too much. For someone else, you'll not be enough. If you build your life trying to fix that, you'll never live your own life. You'll just keep adjusting yourself for people who keep moving the line. And that's a terrible way to exist. So what do? You don't become worse. You become clearer. You stop making your kindness a contract. You stop secretly hoping that if you give enough, people will finally choose you. And you start asking simpler questions. Do I actually want this? Is this fair? Would I accept this for someone I love? That last question is useful. Because sometimes you'll defend other people faster than you defend yourself. If your friend told you they were being treated the way you're being treated, what would you say? Would you call it loyalty? Or would you tell them to leave? Would you call it patience? Or would you tell them to speak? Most of us already know the answer. We just struggle to apply it to ourselves. And I think that's the real work. Not becoming colder, not becoming meaner, or becoming impossible to reach. Just becoming someone who doesn't disappear to be loved. Because the world does need good people. It really does. There's enough cruelty already. There's enough ego already. There are enough people who think respect means fear. So no, don't let life turn you into someone bitter. Don't let bad people convince you that kindness is stupid. Kindness isn't stupid. Blind kindness is. Kindness without boundaries is. But real kindness has a spine. It can help without begging to be needed. It can care without becoming responsible for everyone. That's the kind of goodness that doesn't lose itself. And maybe that's the point. Maybe the lie was never be a good person. Maybe the lie was be a good person, even if it destroys you. That's the part we need to reject. Because being good shouldn't mean becoming empty. Being good shouldn't mean being silent. So keep your kindness, keep your empathy, keep the part of you that still wants to treat people well. But stop offering yourself as the price. You can be a good person and still say no. You can be a good person and still leave. You can be a good person and still choose yourself. And if someone only calls you good when you're useful to them, maybe their definition was never worth obeying. So yeah, good people lose when they confuse goodness with permission. But good people don't have to lose. Not if they learn the part no one taught them. Be kind, but be awake. Be good, but don't abandon yourself. Because the world may not reward you for being a good person, but you still have to live with the person you become, and that right there matters more. And yeah, that's all for now. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.